Hello learners, welcome to this session. In this session, we will be talking about environmental quality and human health. This topic is a part of the course MEV 018, that is Environmental Health and Ecotoxicology of MSc Environmental Sciences and MA in Environmental Studies program. So learners, you must be knowing that environment is the sum total of the external conditions. Now, this sum total of the conditions, whether they are physical or chemical, has an impact on our health. We as an individuals live in the environment. The changes taking place in the surroundings have an impact on our health. Let us see what is the meaning of environmental quality, what are the factors which affect the quality of the environment. As human health, what do we mean? How is our health defined? What are the different dimensions of the health? And interestingly, what is the relationship between environmental quality and our health? Learners, first of all, let us understand what is the meaning of environmental quality. What does it mean when we say the quality of the environment? It is a set of properties. You know, when you go into the detail of the quality of the environment, you understand that it is the set of the properties and characteristics of the environment. Now, these characteristics are very, very broad. They may be generalized or local as it pertaining to the local or the regional environmental conditions, and they have an impact on the environment. And most importantly, what we are seeing today is the large scale, widespread environmental quality. When you further explain environmental quality, you also tell it as a measure of the conditions of an environment. How do you see the conditions prevailing relative to the requirement of one or more species and human need or purpose? And learners, this is very important for you to understand that what is our scale of saying the environmental quality. When we are talking about air quality or water quality, one thing is very important, that we are speaking in respect of our need. If you take the example of, for example, water quality. Now, water quality, when it is in the discussion, it is in relation to the quality of water which is fit for drinking, for bathing, for recreational purposes, or for any other purposes. So, the environmental quality is very much dependent upon the use of that particular component of the environment, and that is defined by, as it is said in the definition, that also varies on the basis of the species, on the basis of the need, on the basis of the various purpose for which the component of the environment is used. So, as a whole, when you say environmental quality, as a whole, we look into the broad perspective of the various components of the environment. Now, what is then human health? What is our health? What does it mean? So, WHO has very clearly defined health, and that is very, very important for you learners to understand that health is a function of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of the diseases and infirmity. Learners, you must pay attention to this definition, because simply when we say that there is no disease or the absence of the disease does not make us healthy. We are not healthy when we say that we don't have any disease, but altogether a set of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Now, physical well-being is defined by our body's metabolism, our bodily activities. Mental well-being is related to our way of expressing our emotions and other factors. And social well-being is defined by how well do we live as a member of the society. So, complete set of physical, mental and social well-being is human health. And in the recent years, this has been further amplified and has been explained, and the definition has been extended, saying that it is also a socially and economically productive life. When we are able to live In a society, when we are able to perform the roles which have been assigned to us in a society, where we are able to contribute economically in a productive manner, this you will understand, because when we will further look into the environmental factors, we will find various examples where we will see that individuals who claim to be healthy are not, because they are not playing any meaningful role in the society, neither they are contributing economically in the society or in the productive work. So that in both the cases also we may not say that the individual is healthy. So health is defined not only by saying that not the diseases are not there, but for a healthy person it is very important that he is in a state of a social well-being, contributing productively in the economic activities. So let us see further what are the dimensions of the health. As an individual, there are physical and the mental dimension of the health. Now, when we look around, we find individuals who live in different geographical locations, who belong to different areas, who are different on the basis of their color and other things. But all individuals are defined by the physical dimension of the health, that is the physical activity which they are doing, what kind of work that they are doing, what kind of nutrients are required by the individual according to the nature of his job, what nutrition the individual is taking, what is the kind of the diet the person is taking, what is the amount of the rest and the sleep. See, these are the physical dimensions and there are certain standards. You must be knowing about the standards which have been prescribed, that how much of hours of the sleep which an individual requires, what is the amount of calories required by different individuals, elderly, children, youth, adolescent, women. So according to the different individuals, according to the nature of work which is being done by the individuals, the physical dimension varies. And this is very much this has been very much observable in the society, where we find people who work more of the physical work, they require more of carbohydrates. There are persons who are having the sitting job, they have a lot of mental work, they require different set of nutrients. So these are the physical dimensions. Then mental dimensions, a person may be physically fit, a person may be having all sort of nutrition, a person may be having good rest and taking 8 hours of sleep daily, but in spite of that we may say that the mental dimension is not okay. Now mental dimension is a state of balanced state of mind, and for that different elements are required. Meditation, yoga, emotional control, these are some of the factors which affect the mental well-being of an individuals. So learners, now we look all these dimensions of the health from the perspective of the environment. We know what is the state of environment today. We know what is the state of the quality of the air that we are breathing, the quality of the water that we are consuming, the food that we are eating. And therefore it is said that food is not a source of nutrition nowadays, rather it is a source of diseases. It is all a part of the environment. So environment, the quality of the environment and the health of the people are interdependent and influence each other. And we cannot have a healthy individual, a healthy society, unless and until the environmental factors or the ecosystems are in a state of balance or they are healthy. So, good environment is an indication of good health. By good environment, we are to be mean. By good environment, we mean operation of the natural cycles, that is biogeochemical cycles operating in a self-regulated manner, or where we find perfect homeostasis in the ecosystems, where we find the good linkages between different organisms in the nature, where we find balanced exploitation of the natural resources from the reserves of the earth. So that is a good environment which is self-renewing, which is self-regenerating, and in that state we find individuals to live a healthy and a productive life. But What is the scene today? That because of environmental pollution, because of natural resource degradation, because of anthropogenic disturbances, we have altered the ecosystems. The air is full of harmful gases. The rivers are full of filth. The soil is contaminated with chemicals of ranging from fertilizers and pesticides. And because of which the environment is not healthy. The environment is contaminated, it is polluted, air, water, soil, and other parts. And these contaminants are toxic, they are hazardous. And are we aloof from that system? No, we are not. We are a part of the environment. We are breathing that impure air. We are drinking the water which is contaminated with heavy metals and other chemicals. So, it is a direct consequence that we are falling ill. We are prone to various types of diseases. So, that explains that environment and human health are related to each other. So, what are the determinants? Now, what is happening in the environment? What are the changes that have occurred? What modifications have taken place because of human activities? Now, this has been explained by the environmental determinants of health. Now, just look at the 3 points which are there on the screen: the physical, chemical, and the biological determinants of the health. Now, physical determinant of the health means what? Physical determinant implies to the presence of the gases, the presence of the harmful chemicals, the ultraviolet rays which are coming to the earth, the increase in temperature which is happening, climate change is taking place. So, that is the physical dimension of the environment. The physical parameters are explained by temperature, humidity, wind speed, storms, disasters, light. These are the physical factors which have changed. Now, these physical factors have changed because of industrialization, because of fossil fuel burning, because of urbanization, and they have disturbed the physical setting of the environment. Or in one way we can say that when deforestation occurs, it just not only leads to increase in soil erosion and other things, but it is also a physical disturbance in the landscape of the earth. So, that way the physical features getting modified, and that has an impact on the health. For example, if we take the example simply that the temperature of the earth is rising. Now, temperature is a physical parameter. Temperature increase leading to melting of the glaciers, leading to ocean acidification, leading to changes in the aquatic ecology, and ultimately creating a conditions in such a way that our health is affected. Another one are the chemical dimensions. Now, chemical determinants or chemical dimensions means there are different chemicals. There are chemicals which are entering into soils. There are chemicals which are entering through industrial effluents in our rivers. We know the state of affairs of the various rivers. We know that the dissolved oxygen has been almost zero in the most polluted rivers of our country. The biological oxygen demand is very high, and that says and that explains that it is no longer a river but it is a simple nala. And likewise, the chemicals are also there in the soil. We know that because of the dumping of the waste, the municipal waste, the leachate is produced. This is just an example. The leachate is produced, and that leachate percolates into the groundwater, pollutes the soil, pollutes the groundwater, and adds to the chemicals in the ecosystems. And these chemicals are toxic, they are hazardous, they may be heavy metals entering into the ecosystems through the food chains, through biomagnification and bioaccumulation entering into human bodies. And that is why you must have noticed there has been increase in the incidence of cancers, increase in the incidence of various types of diseases, maybe diseases which may be acute or which may be chronic, ranging from skin infections happening to cardiovascular diseases to maybe skin cancers, allergies. These are very common. And another determinant is the biological determinants of our health. So, biologically also, you know what has happened during the time of pandemic, that was the onset of the zoonotic diseases which is occurring. When we interfere in the natural ecosystems, there are certain viruses, there are certain organisms which come into our territory, mutate, and cause various types of diseases. The present conditions of temperature, humidity, air quality, they are making the conditions in such a way that out of 12 months in a year, around 5 to 6 months are optimum for the breeding of various vectors which cause diseases like dengue, malaria, chikungunya, etc. They are the biological determinants, because by way of our activities we have led to making entry of various vectors into the environment, into the ecosystems. There are allergies, there are pollen allergies, there are respiratory diseases, there are increase in the asthmatic patients, there are various types of, as I said, allergies happening to the individuals, and more prone are children, elderly, and the people who have comorbidities or who have low immunity. So that is why there is a direct relationship between the determinants of the environment which pose threat to the human health. Now, just looking at some of the factors which are responsible for this, what are the causes? Indirectly we talk about air pollution, but how many diseases are occurring because of air pollution is very well known. Millions of people are dying globally because of air pollution related factors. It may be inflammation of the lungs, it may be asthma, it may be rise of cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, chronic bronchitis. The list is very long. So air pollution may be occurring because of vehicular pollution or because of industries, but it is a major threat to the health, especially respiratory health of the people. Then natural disasters, we agree that natural disasters have increased in their intensity and frequency because of changes in the environmental conditions. Now, natural disasters have an effect on our health because they disrupt the whole ecosystems. Whether it is an earthquake, whether it is a flood, whether it is a landslide, it causes the conditions which lead to the growth of various vectors and the associated diseases. It is harmful in the sense that it uproots the people. It causes communicable as well as non-communicable diseases. Then climate change, as it has been mentioned, because climate change is responsible for the increase in the tropical diseases in our country. Because of the changes happening in the temperature, because of the associated changes in the humidity, we are prone to getting you can say incidences more of the tropical diseases, especially mosquitoes related diseases happening. Diseases caused because of microbes, as we have studied, and most importantly, lack of access to healthcare facilities, because there is a great divide between those who have the access of various healthcare facilities, including proper medical aid and vaccinations. And here also it is important to note that during natural disasters this also becomes a potent factor, because healthcare is not readily available. So that also is indirectly leading to issues of human health. Then of course, when it comes to establish the relation, it is also important to look into some of the socio-economics which are also determining the health of an individual. Why is it so that during disasters or during the cases such as of climate change and other thing, the poor, they are the victims the most? Because in case of any disasters or in case of any mess happening, the vulnerable group is that group which has minimum role in increasing the frequency of that disease or in the cause of that particular effect. So income level in the cities also you will find where the slums are there, those people are more prone to various types of infections occurring. So that income level also determines the health of an individual. Another factor is gender, because as we know, there is a gender gap between those who can access the healthcare facilities and those who are more prone to various environmental factors. In the rural areas also, it is clearly visible that the women, they are more exposed when they live in a closed spaces where they are inhaling the smoke coming out of the burning of the fuels, or for example when they are going out in the forest areas, they are more prone to various types of getting infections and getting various types of pollutants entering into their bodies. So gender also has a role in determining this. That also becomes one of the determinant of the health, because despite the fact that individuals are same, they're living in the same place, but when it comes to different gender roles, it categorically, influences the women more, makes them more exposed, especially in case of disasters, or if we talk about the various chemicals also, they are more exposed when it comes to informal working environments. And therefore it is important to talk about the employment also. Not all the workplaces are safe, not all the workplaces are there in hygienic conditions, and this can be easily seen in the urban areas where we find that people working in the unsafe conditions, where we find that lot of manual handling of the substances or the waste is taking place without any protective garments. So you will find that smoke coming out, and the children and the women are the fumes are being inhaled by that group. So that is a part of the employment, because where we do not have the formal employment, and the informal work settings are characterized by poor environmental quality, and that is a common sight near the industrial areas, small scale industries also. This thing is quite easily visible, and therefore this is one of the main factor. Then education is very categorically, it is very important factor, the level of the education, the level of the awareness, because hardly we relate ourselves or our health to the changes taking place in the surroundings. So it is not, because many times it happens that we do not catch the disease or the infection immediately. It is only after the years of exposure that we come to the realization that it is because of that particular element or that particular working conditions or the living conditions. So awareness regarding various toxins, awareness regarding various chemicals, awareness regarding the change in the environmental conditions is very, very important. So this is about the urban growth which is happening, extreme weather conditions which we have already discussed, that because of n number of factors which are there in the rural areas and in the urban areas, these are affected. Similarly, water quality has an impact, food prices, and therefore there's a term called environmental burden of diseases, which we must understand that this has been concept which has been given by World Health Organization, and which says that what is the burden of the diseases because of the environmental factors or environmental quality. So as to quantify the impact, what are the kind of risks, environmental related risks that has on the health of the population. So when the air is polluted, how many percentage of the population will be affected because of the conditions which are there. So this is the concept of the environmental burden of diseases, and accordingly this has also been explained by quality adjusted life years, which says that if an individuals live for 60 years, but what has happened today is that lifespan has increased, life expectancy has increased, but the quality of the life is still at it's a question mark. So therefore how many years of our life are lost because of the periods when we are sick or where we are not working in a productive manner. So that is very important for us to understand. So in this session we have studied about how environment and environmental quality has an impact on an individual and its health. Thank you so much.